La 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 la.
Inner Wealth Podcast.
La 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 la.
Inner Wealth Podcast.
La 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 la.
Inner Wealth Podcast.
Get out the matrix and live.
You know what day it is? Inner Wealth Podcast. Meditate and give. So manifest the greater this. And things all good cause I say it is. Invest in your inner wealth. Real generational wealth is mental health. It's an inside game, no toxicity. Let's talk and more listening. Ladies and gentlemen, and now introducing David McCullar, founder of Inception, the first mental health gym.
La 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 la.
Inner Wealth Podcast.
La 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 la.
Inner Wealth Podcast.
La 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 la.
Inner Wealth Podcast.
Get out the matrix and live.
All right, everyone, welcome back to the Inner Wealth Podcast. I got two special guests in the building. My guy Asa and Rafa. What up, though?
What up? What up, though?
What up, though, man? You look, I got your guys' book a couple weeks ago, Making the Hood Healthy Again. And that title alone, like I was telling you off air, I thought I was about to read something about, how to eat when it comes to food. But really was how to eat when it comes to your spirit and life. So how did you guys even get to what was the thought process in making the book and going down that road?
You want to answer?
I think Rafa was. We were both individually in our own worlds, rocking with a similar idea, and I think I made a post about I gave the Instagram like a little sneak peek or something, and Rafa was like, you know what, bro? You need to go ahead and do that. And I was like, nah, bro, we need to do that if you was on it. And then we started putting our minds together, and the rest was history. Consistency, going back and forth with different concepts or whatever. Mm-hmm. And we just turned it into some magic.
It reads like magic.
Hey. So we do discuss, food in there to a degree. We don't.
But that ain't the main thing, right?
That's just a little.
Because
glimpse.
I tell people all the time, you could talk about food and you can demonize food and you can talk about the best foods to eat, but who makes the decision about what to put into the body? The food don't just jump into your mouth, right? So who makes the decision? So there's something that we have to not even change, but tap into, and I think that's what's more is coming through the book internally before we even talk about actions. What do you say?
Absolutely, because I think if we just stuck to diet alone when it comes to what we eat, that's a weapon. It could be a tool, but it's also a weapon when you see people, I'm vegan, I'm better than you. You eat meat, you gonna die when you whatever. And then in reality, it's so many meat eaters outlive vegans. The quality of life doesn't necessarily change because you stop eating meat. When you're not aligned spiritually, mentally, and physically, I don't care what you eat. You can eat all the vegetables and fruit you want, or you can eat McDonald's. It don't matter. You're gonna die anyway. So, and we all gonna die anyway too. So, there's other steps towards health and wellness that our culture don't necessarily promote, and that's what this book is bringing to the forefront. I've read several health books. They always talk about diet and how much you gonna die if you keep eating this and keep doing this, and they don't talk about the other stuff. Right. So that's what type of time we on, and this is the perfect time for it with all the changes that we've seen in the world, the trouble that this world has created for itself. This is the perfect time for us to pull ourselves out of it, and these are the real steps, we believe.
Yeah, and I totally resonate with that. That's why I think I was talking to you guys when you came up to Inception. I was saying how when I was on the Breakfast Club and Angela, because she's partnered with Juice for Life with Locks, the Locks. And so I know that they're into juicing and when she asked me, well, what do you think about how does diet affect mental health? I'm like, and I said, little bit. And I think that probably threw people off because they like, well, what do you mean? Like diet, like no, it's like, but what comes before that? Mm-hmm. And if you say you got a shitty attitude, then what does that mechanically happen behind the scenes? You probably stressed out, your immune system is shut down, like you're not absorbing. Mm-hmm. So you went and bought a $5 juice and you absorb 20 cents of it,
Or physically, the body is a temple, but it's also a vessel for all of this spiritual and mental power that we have. So that's where diet is important when it comes to digestion. But if you can't control all of this, if you don't have no grasp of all of this, and your body is weak, then it's like, yeah, we got to eat better. But if that's where it ends for you, nothing really matters. I got this healthy vessel. I don't have any clogs in my heart, whatever the case may be, but I'm getting all of this celestial power hitting my dome, and it's hurting my back, it's hurting my knees, or whatever the case may be. It's because you're not in balance. So you got to get back in balance to really be that powerful God that you claim you are. And we talked about it plenty of times, where it's like there's a lot of couch activists and just fake false prophets. They don't ever go in these directions when they telling the people how to be better. They just talk about diet, or they just talk about spirit, never in a full circular effect. And it's not beneficial to the community at all. So we wanted to tackle them all individually. We all have separate agendas. I'm opening a grocery store. He's in the health consultation field. It all collides. Yeah. And we got to make them all work. Other than that, we wasting our time.
Yeah. So let's talk about one of the first things that that's in the book is talking about how the community, and this is from your forward, and it talks about how the community affects of the overall health, what we live in, the communities we live in, and how that affects us all. And being mindful of who is in charge of healing us, and overconsumption will kill you. So these thought process really comes down to, again, where we living at. We like to say we live in a community, but when you break that down, we live in our homes that make up the community. So what's happened individually in these homes that's making up the community as a whole? You know, so it's our internal environments first that's doing that. So let's talk about that. Like, in terms of, again, that's what the book I really think is doing, is helping people trying to raise your level of consciousness to tap in back to who you are.
I'm gonna let Asa take this one, but you hit a point that is scary to a lot of people. What you just basically said was you are in control of your life and destiny. Right. That's a conversation that most of us don't want to have. We like being prisoners to what has happened to us in the past and what the man is doing. When you really think about it, I'm at home and the man ain't in here. It's just me. It's just my family. It's just I'm in control of my ship. And when we start having that conversation, that's when things start to fall off the rails. But you got the fire, eh? So I just wanted to point that out, because you really just home run really what it is. Like on the real. That's
it's
really
personal responsibility. And the nation, they've been talking about this for a long time. Self-development, and I got into real self-development at a young age. Probably, because my dad had a landscaping service. I'm out there with him while I'm 10 years old. And he's employing other kids in the neighborhood and those little things and teaching me, go get the money. Go knock on the door. Well, I don't want to knock on the door. I'm scared. You're a little kid. You're like, but he's training my nervous system to learn. And that's part of self-development too. And a lot of us have not spent time self-developing.
Indeed.
So, yeah.
So to bounce off of what y'all talking about, man, which was like really some advanced talk compared to where society is right now. Responsibility.
And that's sad, bro. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, you smooth.
When we say that's advanced talk, I'm like, really?
Right.
That's advanced.
Hey, that's what time it is right now.
That's just where it at. So
that's why your podcast show is in existence. That's what you're here for. You changing the game. You changing the script. But responsibility, I would say, equal sign power. A lot of us are not.
Equal sign what?
Power. We afraid of power as a people, or we're taught subconsciously at least that it's a bad thing, or it's for those who need, authority over others. When, like Rafa said, we're responsible for ourselves. Everyone needs to be empowered within themselves, because at the home, like you said, in somebody's home is equivalent to like an individual cell that's making up a body, And we have to, that means not only are we responsible for ourselves, but we're responsible for how we influence one another. Because if a cell, you have a cancerous cell next to a so-called healthy cell, it's only a matter of time before that becomes parasitic and starts to like leech on for life force energy and starts to have that domino effect. You know what I'm saying?
They say it takes one rotten apple to spoil the whole bunch. Like
Man.
these things we start learning when we were younger, we don't understand. These are some deep spiritual, scientific truths.
Yeah. That's how our ancestors get down, though. You know, the elders, they simplify stuff into, like, a phrase, not even a full sentence. It's a phrase with, like, a whole mythological powerhouse worth of conversation in it, you know? But that's a testament to how powerful we are, you know? How creative we can be. But when it comes to this health thing, it's layered up like an onion, you know? So we want to really we want to stress the fact that diet is not insignificant. However, look at it like the outer layer. It's just the surface. You know what I'm saying? But it's so many things that contribute to our health other than the way you other than the way you eat, pardon me. Because when you swallow that food, what is your body doing to the food now?
You've read Biology of Belief by Bruce Lipton?
I've listened to it on Audible.
Okay,
and checked out his lectures.
Some of his lectures, he talks about a church where they literally will inject or get bitten by snakes, and their belief will overcome the poison. Can you do that with food?
You can. I've seen
Absolutely.
people do it. Yeah.
Absolutely. What are you praying over your food for if it's still hurting you, right? But do you have that congruent power to do that? And most of the time you don't. So because you don't even believe what you saying you're praying for, your vibration ain't in alignment with that, right?
Y'all opening up a whole another conversation again.
That metaverse talk.
Yeah, cause like the society that we have grown up in, this don't make sense. Like it doesn't make sense to them, and they don't believe it. It's like, and I talk about it in one section summary in the book where we talk about this fragmentation. You know, to Asa's point, you know, religion was literally just a personified explanation of the universe.
Right.
Simplified for maybe somebody like me that I don't understand, you know, all of that talk. But I do understand, you know, it's going to rain and things come out of it. So you build a story around it. At some point in time, you know, the thinkers of the day, they started separating all of that. And, you know, Noah's Ark, that's BS. You know what I mean? Where there was an actual meaning behind that story. You know,
the waters are new.
Yeah, so I can put Jack and the Beanstalk in that place, and that means that it should mean something. So they started creating these different, you know, thoughts. We gotta take that out. They started attacking religion, but they really were attacking spirituality. So ghosts, that ain't real. Let's toss it out. Superstition, that ain't real. Power of the tongue, that ain't real. Let's toss it out. And in reality, it is real. And what's even more crazy is the same people that taught you that it wasn't real, they practice it themselves.
They practice it. So they disempower you.
Yeah, they disempower you, and it's all by design. So having these conversations like in the households, in our community, we talking crazy to people. They don't understand these conversations. They like, nah, that ain't real. And it's like, all right, you'll see one day. And I think we all see it one day. But until then, you know, we the crazy folks. The beauty of today is more of us are aware of these things. So it's easier for us to navigate these waters. And it's still tough to navigate, but it's much easier because more of us are getting there. So people that are there, we can get them.
Yeah. There's a one sentence I want to read from the book that when I read it, it was one word that really stuck out to me. It says, knowledge of self was encouraged so that one would understand how to conduct his or herself in a life and with things outside of self. Understand how to conduct. Like, we are conducting energy within our bodies. And how you conduct yourself, conduct that energy, is what you're going to put out there, right? You know?
What you will receive in return.
Like a choir director. You know, you're responsible for those thoughts and those actions and how they show up and how they harmonize and what they produce. You know?
Yeah. A lot of people are living from the outside in, and they're waiting for a situation to happen to change how they feel on the inside. And it's like, well, you're a slave. You're a slave to stimulus. The stimulus, if the stimulus doesn't give you what you want, then you won't feel how you want to feel. I'm like, well, I got to wait for the stimulus. When I am the stimulus, I can create that own emotion within myself, you know?
Yeah, we live low on purpose most of the time. And I had that conversation a lot with people, you know. Most of the conversations I have is always around money. And it's like, you know, how do I make more? And, you know, the first question I usually ask people is, well, how much do you have now? You ain't got to answer me specifically, but are you comfortable? And then it's like, yeah, I'm straight. So why you still chasing it? You know, it got to be something else. Like, you not happy, clearly, because me and you having a conversation. We shouldn't even be talking right now. You straight. So it's what else is missing? And the answers that come out, like, none of that got nothing to do with money. None of that have anything to do with money. But if you see how fast you made this money, just think about how fast you can manifest your happiness, heal yourself, get into a space to where you are truly free. Because until then, you are a slave. Now you slaves to the money and everything that comes with that. So getting out of integrity, doing things that you know your heart don't want to do, you doing it for this thing. And instead of being free and doing what you want to do and doing what makes you happy and doing the right thing. So we are enslaved still, you know, and it's by design, but we got the tools, and it's up to us to show folks that, you know, the tools are there.
Well, I think it's a demonopolization of self that's happening, decentralized self, because yourself and who you are was monopolized and owned by somebody else, and you thought that's who you are. That projected image they kept showing us, that they keep showing you over and over. This is who you are. You know, as black people, when we look at each other, you know, we were conditioned, you know, and what we were conditioned with. A lot of it was, you know, I got a lot of good conditioning growing up. You know, my parents were very instrumental in that too. They was taking me to the Shrine of the Black Madonna. I don't know if you remember that bookstore. My mom used to take me there, and as a kid, I used to be like, why she take me out? I'm like, why it smell like, what's this smell up in here? All that shea butter up in here. And I like that right there. She wanted me to be in the positive side. And that's one thing you talk about in the book. It's like, that's not our heritage, just slavery. That's all you want to show us?
Yeah.
And then to the point, brothers, they have done a number on us to the point where if I say, man, you're God, I ain't God. Like, the denial of your own power is like laughable. Like, bro, you're an elephant with a stick. They ain't even got the little thing around in the ground keeping you in there. They trained you to believe that you're supposed to stay in that spot. Right. They got your mind. That's what we talk about, the Matrix. That's why I did an episode. I did a couple episodes on the Matrix. That's really what we talking about. Is trying to come out of. That's that book, man, coming out of the Matrix too.
Yeah. And then fashioning it how you want it to be, because it is a substance, you know, it's just shaped and patterned and molded in a particular way to keep us down or, you know, slave-minded or whatever. But if we remind ourselves and rewind time a tad bit and get familiar with how that thing works, we can, you know, be interior decorators. You know, and
interior decorators.
Hey, you know,
for real, interior decorators. Get it?
Y'all just hit two. So you sent me that Instagram reel last night about how to buy land in the metaverse, and you've been talking about it a lot.
My sister owns 16 properties already, bro.
So listen. So when you sent that, I was having a conversation with my mom's, and when we first initially started talking about the metaverse, we were at inception, and I didn't know much. I didn't have a real, and I don't know much now. I know more than what I did know. But I kind of answered my own question, and it dives in directly what y'all were talking about. I was basically explaining what I, knew of the metaverse to my mother. She 55, 56 now. And she like, it sound like y'all, these people trying to be God again. And it hit me. I'm like, we are God, right? So, if the universe we live in was created by God, this is just another verse being created.
It's more of the same.
It's all the same.
We're going to go in there, in that metaverse, create another world in there, and go in there, create another world is all, when you're talking about the interconnectedness of everything, is just a fractal.
Yeah. And
it cannot not be connected.
Yeah. And talking to my mother, you can feel it in the ether. She's getting more scared. She's getting, and for me, I got empowered. And it was calm. I'm like, this shit crazy. Like, we're literally creating a new verse. And she's like, y'all are playing God. Or you buying into that, you playing God. And she's getting frightened. And I'm like, where do you think we come from? The same mechanics. Yeah. So what are you afraid of? Like, it's nothing to be afraid of. This is why me and you are present. So it's just being repeated. It's not a bad thing. It's actually... if you really think about it, you know you can't be stopped now. You can do whatever you want if you really think about that in that way. And I answered my question last night in just how y'all just worded things. It's crazy. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, our belief in what we're going into another world and creating, it just sold a plot of land in a metaverse for $2.3 million. Digital land. But when you think about it, well, who sold you this land? Who had ownership over it to be able to sell it to you in the first place?
Lil Uzi Vert just bought a planet. Yeah, who sold you the planet?
You used to be able to buy real estate on the moon. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I saw when I was in Arizona some years ago, and I saw these houses cut off into the mountain. I said, well, who owned the mountain to be able to sell it to you so that you can build your house into the mountain? Like, really, when we look at it, everything is just inherently don't have real value until we collectively place value on it, right? That's consciousness,
it's
right?
Wrestling. It's wrestling. It's fake.
It's fake.
It's all fake.
It's Monopoly.
Yeah.
But we too, as in this game, we take it so seriously. You know? We take it so seriously because, one, we take it so seriously because that's how we're going to make ourselves feel better about ourselves. Yep. What I own. Mm-hmm. And you don't own anything. You're going to die. It's a lease.
Not
you
even
don't
his
own
body.
Anything.
Yep. For sure.
Even, like, you see the nature of relationships, how it changing. What do you guys think about that? Like, a lot of stuff coming up with the polyamorous and all these conversations about relationships and are changing because I think people growing up, what were you shown? You were shown one way of living, right? Monogamy, right? Mm-hmm. That's it. And now you go look, and maybe you heard about some stuff back then, but it was like super like, no, don't even look at that. Now you do some Google searches and you seeing all type of stuff. Yeah. We're going to see all type of ways of living change.
Yeah. I just saw a dude on Instagram with 17 wives.
Wow.
Laughing at some American guy. He was like, how many wives you got? He said, just one. He started laughing at him like it was pathetic. I'm like, some people get down like whatever.
17?
17, bro.
That's deep.
Yeah. That is.
That's a lot of personality.
That's a lot of energy. But if they on one accord, that's a lot of power.
And you can't judge it.
See, you know what our problem is when we look at that? We've seen so much dysfunction that we can't even imagine. Mm-hmm. I'm having a hard time with this one. Yep. So I seen so much dysfunction. That's how I associate relationships with dysfunction. So seeing that's 17 times the amount of dysfunction.
We seen it with Nick Cannon. When Nick Cannon was, I don't want to say was because I think he's still on the prowl to have more kids. But my argument to that with people that was saying, "Oh, he need to sit down," I'm like, man, is rich. So he's probably providing a better home environment than you did having growing up with one father.
With one father.
You had one father, one mother, and they probably struggled. This man got access to resources that most of us don't have.
Most of us will never fathom.
He probably has a better home foundation having kids all over the place than you did growing up. So instead of judging it, just say it ain't your cup of tea. Just say you can't handle it, or can you handle it? Can you? If you were there, you may do it. You may do the same. So, we just got to detach from what is definite because it ain't no definite. It's not real. It's WWF. It's not real. Whether you win or lose, it's fake. So just take that as what it is and move accordingly. Your expectation for what things should be will fade, and then you can just live free. And there's no problem, even in the business world. Like, I just don't feel like I'm touchable because of how I think. I'm not in competition with nobody, and I'm doing me, and I'm happy doing it, and I'm already winning because I'm profiting 1,000,000% every day because I'm happy.
That's deep and that's powerful, and that's, you know, it's good to be around brothers who feel that way, because when you feel that way, there's no jealousy, there's no, well, I can't share something with you because then you're gonna get ahead of me and all that. It's like, bro, the best thing you can ever have is your inner wealth anyway. Mm-hmm. You know, being happy. That's why I try to teach people that. I'm pointing you back to yourself. Yeah. Said it before. If a leader is leading you away from you, they're leading you away from you.
Mm-hmm. Facts.
They're supposed to be turning you inward. Mm-hmm. And if Jesus would show up today, people would miss him, and they already missed him, because if you look at each other, you see that Jesus, you see God, you see the power. That's what the story was about. We missed it, man.
Yeah. And he said you will do these works and greater in the text that you claim you follow.
The least amongst you.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like, do you really follow that? So let's go to this point where you had in the book about, and it's about contrast when we talk about self-love and making a lift on self-love and what's detrimental and what's beneficial. People say they love themselves. Let's see. Let's see. I did a conference years ago, and it was like the speaking conference. You know, a lot there's a big thing where people get up and they speak whatever, and they like motivational speaking, and I appreciate that. But then I'm like, you're getting up and you're sharing a motivational talk, but you don't sleep at night. You don't have power. You can't even recover. Your body recovers when you sleep well, but you're a pastor and you have a congregation, but you can't shut your mind down. Who are you? What are you leading them to? Right? What are you leading them to? So let's make that list of self-love, and let's see if you're congruent on that. And it's not a judgment, but it's I feel that strongly about it, because it's always this thing where it's like, I'm powerful and I do everything right and you don't. But it's always typically kind of the opposite. Like, nah, you really weak, you know, and you're exuding, you're trying to pump yourself up like you have this power, but you ain't congruent to it.
I tell people all the time in conversation, you know, one of your steps in becoming great is to meet people you think are great, and they gonna disappoint you every time.
Right.
Like, meet your favorite rapper, and then you see his breath stink like yours do, or see, like, I remember when I was 18. I don't even want to say his name, but whatever. I was around some people with access, and I met Young Jock. He wasn't my favorite rapper, but I seen him on TV all the time. He was on the radio all the time, and he had a chain on, and he had a safety pin connecting it in the back. And it blew my mind. I said, oh, nah, this ain't.
You know what that was? You had your Wizard of Oz moment.
Literally, I'm like, oh, nah, you are no more powerful than I am. And it changed my whole perspective on people. You know what I mean? Like, I see you on TV, that don't mean you better than me. We all in the same boat, and we all gonna die one day. I have conversations with like many of the local rappers here, a lot of the social media celebrities, and blah blah blah. And it's like, I see you make posts all day about what you should be doing, and then I get a text message like, yeah, you know, I'm having some suicidal thoughts right now, and I'm like, you just told me, you just told us, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's all fake, and I think that and I'm against the whole, like, I've done panel discussions. I've done them. I've made a pledge and a vow to not do any more of them, because it's not real. It's not real. I can't talk at you. You know what I'm saying? I'm not perfect. So, you know, we are a reflection of each other. You can teach yourself more having a conversation with me than me giving you the tools because you think you don't have them. It's like, no, you got them.
I did a panel talk, was a couple weeks ago, and I was up there, and I was just like, y'all do know every one of y'all in here is a genius, right? So all y'all geniuses, you just ain't tapped into it. And I'm sitting up there, and I'm like, they not gonna get me. Like, it take work Like I can hear that, and I read it in books. Like it's like everybody's born a genius, but life de-geniuses you. I didn't get to the point where people kept calling like, you're a genius. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And then I'm like, you know what? No, you're right. Why am I denying that? It's because it's like, as black men, when we get compliments, it's a conditioning to be like, no, bro, you doing good too. Like we can't just take it and just receive it.
Yeah.
You know, as it is. I don't need to give a compliment back to you. I just need to receive it.
You know what? We saying the same I've been trying to say something, but it's like every time y'all said something, it's like, dang, that too, it just resonates with the same central idea. You said genius. At the beginning of genius, we have gene, or like that, like the prerequisite for genetics, right? And in that word, we're going back to like it's a beginning. You know what I'm saying? Anybody knows about like when you think of Genesis, you think about like the primal whatever place, right? I'm looking at the wall. If you just listening, you can't see around us. On the wall, there's a dot, and there's a lot of circles. Outside of the dot, a circle within a circle within a circle within a circle, et cetera, et cetera. And Rafa was saying it's fake, it's fake, it's fake. Yeah. It is fake because the conversation we had the other day, this universe is holographic in nature. It's just like when you go to the movies, for those who don't get that part, when you go to the movies, behind everybody, up on the wall, you know, there's some type of camera that's flashing a whole bunch of images so fast that it looks like a motion picture. And we don't understand that that's what's going on with our reality in real life. Even our physical bodies, they might appear solid, but the DNA is even what they call it, luminescent, you know, and it produces flashes so fast. The blood is even not even like it's liquidy like that. Yeah. It's holographic. It's gassy when you really describe it on the inside. But I think that a lot of the judgmental energy that we see amongst each other, you not this or you not that, or people not even believing in themselves, all of that can be eliminated if we start to pump that conversation and get people more familiar with that dot in the middle. Because that dot in the middle, if it's the producer of all those circles, if it's in the middle of all those circles, that means that at the center or at the most inner parts, like you said, they should be pointing people within, make people look inside. Inside of us, we have the potential to produce any mother thing we want to. It's like, I was talking to some students, like, name a thought that you can't think. They was scratching their head, looking around, but like, you know
name
what I'm
a
saying?
thought you can't think.
You can't do it. You can be anything, produce anything. But once we start, and it's one thing to talk about it, but it's another thing to practice it and make it a habit and integrate that mentality into our regular, you know, thinking. You know, if we wake up thinking every day, knowing that we can do whatever or produce any idea, it's a whole different ball game, bro.
Yeah, but we sit on the sidelines and we look at everybody else who's presented in front of us as the geniuses and the celebrity and the star, and you think, well, I can't do that, but you may not be able to do what they do, but that don't stop you from doing what you are destined and purposed to do.
Exactly.
Because whatever that is, if you do that and you stay true to that, like people gonna find value in that. Like, people didn't find value in what I was doing 15 years ago when I started what I was doing. It took 15 years for people to say, oh, we find value in this. You know, and we know how truth goes through these phases anyway. You know, first is violently opposed, second is highly ridiculed, and then thirdly is widely accepted. Like, that's everybody's journey. You can be, some people are way too ahead too. And they're thinking where the collective consciousness just ain't there. And I'm like, I don't want to be one of those people where, because even Charlamagne said, man, you 20 years ahead, bro. I'm like, what? This like last year he told me that. I'm like, but I'm 15 years in. How am I 20 years ahead?
Yeah, you stripped away that the concept of time. I got to do it now. It's like you got to do it when you're supposed to do it. And you right on time. 15 years in, you right on time.
Right.
And we lose that because to Asa's point is like when you know like that what is the Bible scripture, mustard seed of faith, it, you know, produces one of the biggest trees, and that's all you need is that.
Faith of a mustard seed can move a mountain.
Yeah, and that's all that's in all of us. It's that small, it creates the void, creates everything. When you know that, you can't be stopped. And when you start giving ideas and talking to people, oh, that can't happen, they stop you right there. You got to keep going. And once you do that, you lose that concept of time. It's going to get done when people ask all the time, like, when the grocery store going to open? My answer is when it open.
When it's ready to be open. When it's ready to come through. It's like the baby. When you're ready to come out.
I'm putting in the work.
Yeah.
It's going to open when it open. You know, I'm not rushing it no more. I became a prisoner to that. And I had anxiety. I was depressed because I'm chasing your expectation. And I want to make you happy. And it ain't making me happy at all because I want to open this store based on your standard. I'm open.
And that's a good thought too. People have tried to come and do business with me, and I would tell them, like, you can't do business with me with the level of anxiety you have. Because you're gonna want this stuff to what I'm doing to go faster than what it should, and it's right in the flow of what it should be in the first place.
Yeah.
So why you ain't got 50 locations? Because I don't have 50 locations. And it's not time to have 50 locations, because if I open 50 locations out of the season, they're going to die. And so all that work is gone. It's in vain because I'm out of pocket. I'm out of purpose. I'm out of flow. You know,
that's the magic word, flow. That's the magic word. We have been taught force. We have been taught chase. You know, I chase the money. Mm-hmm. You tired now.
Or the grind. So now you tearing down. Mm-hmm. The hustle.
Tearing down and breaking down.
Breaking down. I hustle, I grind, all these thought processes that in our community are flashing lights. And I'm like, do they say that in other communities like that? You heard Indians say we on our hustle?
No.
They value system different. Yeah.
So we have to look at what our collective value system is. One thing that we're going to be able to do, bro, and I had this thought before I really knew about, I knew the metaverse was coming. I didn't know how soon, but I had this thought during the pandemic, and I was like, with crypto, black people, we can create our own coin. We can create our own currency right now.
Yeah.
We can create our own Wakanda. We can create our own country. We can create our own digital country within the metaverse that represents us, that gives us only access to that. Because you have that coin. You were vetted. You got to be vetted, right? You can put that vetted process through the blockchain. Because one thing that disconnects us is we don't have a communication system. We're using other people's platforms to communicate. We don't have our own. We can create our own stuff now. But do we have the collective mindset to be able to pull that off? Because we too busy. We think we're wrestling with each other. We're really wrestling with ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
That's where the healing has to come from. We got to heal first.
Yeah. And understand what healing is.
Talk about that.
A lot of people, when they say, you know, I'm a health practitioner, I'm a health coach, I'm a this, I'm a that. I know a lot of people who think that because they solved a particular problem, let's say weight, like there are people who might have been like 300, 400 pounds. They just slimmed down. I got it. I'm the master of health because X, Y, and Z. Follow me because I know how to do it now. That's not necessarily healthy. You've accomplished that particular goal, you know, or that level. Like when you played video games when you was little, that was the level, and you did your thing. Kudos. However, healing is a constant, eternal process. Because the place that, first off, the word heal itself means to return back to an original state, right? But our original state, like we said before, when we were referring to like that central point with those circles, that central state, that original state is infinite by nature. So there's no way that we can like get to a certain point and like be like ultimately the healthy thing. Like we can call a person healthy if their like overall condition is not diseased or detrimental or poised or peaceful. However, there's still no limitation to what they can accomplish once they dive over. I always tell my clients, like, yeah, you want to feel better. You aching, you got cancer cells, you stiff, you do that, you know, you just want to feel better and get back to zero because you're in the negatives. But why stop there? Why not go in the positives to 10? If you was hurting on a 10, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm aching, I'm this. Why not feel just as good on a polar opposite end? Because we don't have no limits. And that's the type of matter we need to think in right now. Not think like I'm trying to force my, opinions on somebody, but that would benefit a lot of people. They would be a lot happier if they were, waking up feeling, an abundance of energy instead of like I gotta move my leg one at a time just to hop out the bed. It's
that's because we choose low, man. We choose low all the time. It's like, if you get me out of this, God,
right,
I don't do it no more.
Right.
And as soon as you get out of it, you go right back to doing it. And that's a choice. It's not like, that's not innate. That's a whole choice. Like, man, God, I cheated. My girl found out. One more, just get me out of it, God. As soon as she cool, you go right back to doing it. That's that.
We want to be out of pain, but we don't want to change our lifestyle. That's the difference,
Yeah.
We want to move from pain to pleasure, and that's what we do. That's what we do through consumerism and capitalism. We want to buy our way out of it.
We are professional pain seekers. That's another conversation.
Professional pain seekers.
I asked that question in conversation again. Do you really want to be happy? Because this ain't gonna get it. The stuff you're describing, and that's different for different folks. You know what I mean? It's like some people just like they get satisfied by proving somebody wrong. Are you happy?
You're not really happy.
Once you get that, you're not happy. I know you're not happy because what did you get out of it? Oh, I got all this money. Are you happy? Once you get that, I know you're not. So you have to do the inner work, and the inner work is forgiveness, is reconnection, is empowering, is detachment, is all of these things that you just don't want to let go. Why won't you let the knife go? For whatever reason. How do I let it go? Easy, just let it go.
And I think that's a problem too, though, is when we say that word "let go." We, in the churches, we go onto the altar and we symbolically have dropped stuff off, but neurologically, physiologically, we're still locked into our bodies. So when we go back to that list of self-love, like for myself, I've come up with systematic ways that people can love themselves. These are systematic approaches, and my approach has to deal with the brain and the body. If we can get that to a better state of openness and receptiveness, then you can see, the let go. But if you're still locked in, if you're still tension in your body, what did you really let go of? Like you said it, but the body ain't responding. Yeah. Because the body has built up a tolerance to your environment. And the body's like, nah, we can't let that go. That may kill us.
I think also we see letting go as some type of weakness or some type of like I'm letting my power go. Not understanding when you do let go the weight, you have more freedom. But for some reason, our subconscious mind has to still get tweaked as a people, collectively, of course. But I think if you were to say that on a world stage every day, like in a megaphone or something like that for a month straight, we'd be smooth, bro.
But that's why the title of our book is Make the Hood Healthy Again, a holistic guide to a healthier spirit, mind, and body, not the other way around. You always hear mind, body, spirit, or body, mind, spirit. We always put the emphasis on body. If you don't have control of your computer, and again, that celestial work going up here, your body only follows what the mind is telling it to do, if it could do it, if it's healthy enough to do it. So we have to prioritize a healthy spirit, mind first before we even talk about the body. And that's where Western views in our society always promote healthy body, healthy body, healthy body, healthy body to over-sexualize. I can have sex with 50 women once I'm healthier. What is that doing to your spirit? What is it doing to your mind? It's messing it up. I'm healthier so that I can smoke like a chimney. Smoking ain't bad. In excess, everything is bad. Yeah, right. So, getting in them spaces of we have to reprioritize what health is. And, to Asa's point, we don't know what healing is, the real definition of it. So, yeah, that's literally is one of them things, man.
Yeah, when we talk about medication and surgery as being the main options, like when I was going through what I was going through, the main options was either talk therapy or medication. So here we go back to that thing. So this system is so complex and simple at the same time, but you're only giving me two options. You know how many systems that's happening underneath the surface, and there's only two options, and one of them it's very synthetic. People realize this. Every medication that's ever been created came from the rainforest. You only can take something from something.
Yeah.
So where they get the idea to make aspirin and all these different things? These come from plants.
Yep.
These come from the Amazon rainforest. They just can't. They can't patent what's in the Amazon rainforest. They can't patent what's in nature. But I can patent something if I alter it slightly. And there's benefits to those things, but how we use them is like it's grossly overused.
Yep.
Because it's a lot of money to be made. There's no money in healthy people.
It gritted my teeth when I was crafting the distribution for our book. And then we actually hit #1 in this category, alternative medicine. It's like, this is not alternative medicine. This is medicine.
This is right.
It's medicine.
Well, the medical system is alternative medicine. This is primary care. Mm-hmm. We got the junk. Self-care is primary care. Yep. The alternative medical system is secondary.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
We got it flipped. Especially in our culture, like our parents and grandparents, they so indoctrinated with the doctor and what the doctor says is right. But it's one thing you said, and I promote this heavily. No doctor should know more about your body than you. You should not go into the doctor like, I don't know what's going on. I go to my chiropractor, and that's one of the main doctors I go to because he's holistic in nature. So I go to him, I say, Jake, I got this, I got that, and it's because of that. Then he goes and checks it out, and a lot of times he's validating what I just said.
And you can't lie to a doctor either. Like, can't nobody lie to him. You know what I'm saying? Going to him and saying, "Oh, I'm good. I've been eating."
Yeah.
He asks 2 or 3 questions in, right. You like, that's cap. That's cap.
It's the same way with us. As people come in and you say you good, and I'm like, how you sleep at night? Oh, I don't have no sleeping problems. How long it take you to fall asleep? About 30 minutes to an hour. You got sleeping problems.
Yep.
Yeah.
How many times you wake up in the middle of the night? 3 or 4 times. You got sleeping problems. You wake rested? No. You have sleeping problems. Like, but the contrast. I think this is where we have a big issue at, and that going back down to that list of self-love, detrimental or beneficial, I think is important if you guys can make that type of list. The list would be, again, you're going to put one side detrimental, one side beneficial, and put your things that you do on a day-to-day basis and do it like honestly. Is it detrimental to your health or beneficial? I like to call it resourceful or unresourceful. And some things can be resourceful in a moment that can be unresourceful long term. And we tend to do that with things we consume. Like, oh, it's resourceful for the moment, like alcohol. No, that's resourceful for a moment. Like, oh, I'm relaxed. But tomorrow you're going to pay.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Or for the vegans, apple cider vinegar is a big one.
Oh, really?
Because, it can do a lot of healthy things. It can help you out a lot, but have you ever tried to... You've seen, like, people put, like, Pepsi or Coca-Cola...
Oh, yeah.
Under the hood of a car to dissolve the rest. Mm-hmm. You could do that with apple cider vinegar.
So it's an acid.
So imagine, like, what people... If they... I take it every day, 3-4 times a day. You got organs and glands on the inside, bro.
Right.
What is that doing to your vitality?
Why would they take it 3-4 times a day?
Because somebody told them to, or they saw it on the internet.
Yep, Instagram told them to.
That's what we get. That's what I find us culturally, and I've seen it for a long time because I've been in the wellness world, man, since I was 16. It's like we gravitate and we hold on to these new things. Like, oh, apple cider vinegar. Now that's the thing. Dr. Sebi, whatever Dr. Sebi promotes, CMOS. Like, oh, that's the pillar of health. And it's just like, no, these are all tools in a toolbox. And you're gonna pick and use what you need at a specific time. It's not like you gotta do that every day. You're gonna take apple cider vinegar. Your stomach makes acid.
There you go. And everything is not everything is not applicable to everybody at the moment. For some folks, like CMOS, correct me if I'm wrong, that's high in, like, salt and stuff. Everybody can't just take that the same way, as other folks. So it's like,
and it's different types.
It is different types, and but that's why the universe is so abundant, because it's like, oh yeah, well, if I can't do the CMOS, I can do this or I can do that. So to your point, when you follow that trend, you might be walking into a dangerous like hornet's nest. You don't even know. You just following something that you saw, and you know it's helping me. Is it gonna help you at the moment? Is it beneficial, or it's gonna be consequential? So you got to do your research, homework, and ultimately you gotta know your body. You have to know whether you suffer from hypertension naturally, so you can know how to battle it and combat it. You know what I mean? Like there's a self-discovery that is required to really be healthy. And if you don't take that time, you're gonna rely on the doctor, and the doctor wants money. That's it. The doctor wants money. And the Chris Rock, I want to say, said it best. Like the money is not in the cure, it's in the medicine. If I can keep you medicated and I can keep you in this, we're just gonna prolong it. You know what I mean? No, I want to heal.
The money is in the disease.
Yeah, heal me. I want to be healed.
Yeah.
But that starts with you. When you realize that, can't be touched.
Clint Ober, the guy who I was speaking about, we did his podcast. Is probably going to actually, by the time this podcast out, it'll be the last one we did. And Clint had rediscovered grounding. So when we talk about reconnecting, you know, I don't know if you know, I promote connecting back to the earth, because connecting to that grid, we're able to get rid of those negative ions, or the positive ions. We actually get negative ions from the earth. So this guy has been in the cable industry for years. So he made a lot of money in the cable industry, and he spent a lot of money on doing studies on understanding the actual efficacy of being connected to the earth. Proved it all day, right? Inflammation, gone when you reconnect back to the ground. He's talked to one of his doctor's buddies who wanted some grounding products. He said, okay. He said, oh, you're going to sell them at your office? He said, no, man, I got a wife. No, I have a wife. I can't sell these products at my clinic because I have to make money to support my wife. That's the truth. You know, that's like, it's sick, man.
Yeah, that's wild. Like real estate, like rent or mortgage, you know? Like that's exactly like the equivalent of keep coming back. You need a refill. Come on with it, you know?
Right.
That, and we don't see it, but that's
just auto ship. You ever been a network marketing company and have auto ship? They want you to buy this monthly, this auto ship thing. Like, I remember they were doing, I've seen some wacky stuff, boy, over the years. They had, I remember when, what's that? Chia. The chia.
Yeah.
The chia seeds came out. Remember, it was probably about 10, 12 years ago, chia became very popular. Now, I remember the chia pet as a kid.
Yeah.
But the chia seeds became popular, and this company called LifeMax started selling chia seeds.
I remember that.
For $50 a month, auto ship. I'm like, first of all, do you need to eat chia every day?
Sheesh.
Like, and then you're going to auto ship $50 worth of chia seeds, and then the guy who rediscovered chia, who was their research person, split off from that company and started selling it. Guess how much he was selling it for? $12. Because that was the real price. But because network marketing took it and they put a upcharge on it because they got to pay you, they got to pay that person, they got to pay that person. So by the time you get stuff from a network marketing company, the whole idea of this superfood or super juice or whatever may seem pretty cool, but it's like you're overpaying for it and you don't need to take it every month.
Yep. The other side to that too is when you're dealing with Mother Nature. Listen, I'm looking at your phone right now. Eventually, you're gonna have to charge that phone up because the battery, the life force, you know, and it is only gonna, you know, operate as long as, you know, it's able to contain it. Right. When it comes to food, if you immediately pluck, let's say, a blueberry off a tree or whatever off the ground, a plant, a herb, and you consume it, that life force energy is fresh. Right there. A lot of times these companies be having that stuff sitting on the shelf for like weeks and months and like just in a warehouse sitting around waiting to get distributed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that battery life is little to none, you know? Yeah. If it's any left, it might just be a container.
Energy really in there. Right.
So that's another thing.
It's a dead plant.
Yeah, we need to take that into consideration when it comes to
think about
food.
this. The marijuana that they're growing typically are in pots. A lot of them, they're not in the ground. You're producing dead plants. It doesn't have the earth's energy connected to it. It's not grounded. What plant you seen that's not been grown out of the ground? What plant have you seen that has not been grown out of the ground that's natural? No. You can hydroponically do those things. That ain't natural. They don't have the same. You ever seen acrylion photography?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When they show you the energy in it, those things aren't alive. Those Frankenstein plants.
Yeah. It looks good.
Yeah.
It works. It works. You can make it grow. Why this? Yeah, but
what's the same thing with a fake
energy,
ass, right?
I feel you. Yeah.
Look and feel. It's not, the real stuff.
Yeah. Facts.
What face Rafa making?
don't do that.
What we talking about now?
Don't do that. But and that's one of the things that we always talk about is reconnecting to power. Power. Like nothing else matters without power. You have nothing if you don't have your power. So everything, it comes with that to me, anyway, show you powerful. When you know how powerful you are, can't nobody walk over you. You can walk through anything, but you also know when to stop. You know everything around you. And that's a beautiful point to, and this is not against anybody that smokes marijuana, nobody that, if it's not connected to power, is it really beneficial? Like you bring that is it beneficial or consequential, or is it resourceful to you or not resourceful to you? When you ask yourself those questions, you feather your mechanics in life. It's totally different. And it really takes you to sit down. We chase, we grind, we hustle, we don't ground. We never ground. That is so powerful to your day-to-day life, is being grounded, because can't nobody move you when you grounded. But you can move whatever you want when you're grounded. When you are tapped into your source of power, can't nothing not happen. You in control of all of it. You can't pull me off my square. But when I want to move off my square, I'm going to move. And when I move, it's going to hurt if I wanted to. Or it's gentle if I wanted to. You in control of everything. So y'all hitting, man. Y'all hitting. I knew this was going to be that. I knew it. Y'all hitting,
For
man.
sure. Are you into astrology?
Sort of.
So I just wanted to say this part for the people who, even if you don't believe in astrology like that, even if it's you could use it like a concept or something, but conceptually, all the planets are derived from the sun, right? Mm-hmm. Mercury, Venus, and so on and so on. By the time you get to Pluto deals with like transformation, death, rebirth, and all of that stuff, but it also corresponds with dormant forces that are ready to be released or have, already been. But at the end of the day, you can say that if all these planets come from the sun, Pluto resonates with like the innermost, like most powerful force within the sun, right? Mm-hmm. And if you look at like the positioning of the planets, they all, no matter what end you start from, they correspond and kind of dance with each other as far as their meanings and their contribution to the universe. Mm-hmm. If Pluto deals with that power, the planet next to it is Neptune. Neptune can correspond, we say deception, but I mean on a higher octave, you could use the word belief. I hear a lot of people saying we got to reconnect back to our power. We already connected. It's just a matter of us believing in ourselves. But as Rafa was talking, I was like, damn, the creator's so cold. Neptune right next to Pluto, and all this stuff is already organized, like in the stars, like it's already mapped out. Yeah, it's just a matter of us acknowledging this thing.
We're in a stimulus response universe.
Yeah,
and so whatever, again, if it gets cold in this room, the body starts to respond to that stimulus.
It's gonna release electrons.
So if the sun goes off into around July, and it's at this peak, what do we got? We got summer. What would happen if it stayed like that year round? We die. Our hearts would burn out. We wouldn't have food if we stayed at that same energy peak. But it's like you said, it's perfectly mapped out where it goes through what it needs to go through. Mm-hmm. When you're resisting what the stimulus is happening in the universe, in the world, like when nature comes, when winter comes, and you still grinding, and that's a time to dormant. Right. How we reverse.
Hibernate.
This is the most wonderful time of the year. It's the busiest time of the year. Why? That's when we should be chilling. We should be relaxing. We going against the stimulus. You ain't got to believe in astrology. Just look at it as a stimulus response loop.
Yeah.
Everything has a cause and reaction. They have solar news now. We can see how solar flares and all that affects us electromagnetically. Oh, people who know this stuff, they're the ones in power. Is you sit down, you know, you don't want to believe stuff or understand stuff because it's too woo woo and all that stuff. And it's just like, nah, it's kidding. It's pretty simple.
Simple. It's too simple, and it's too powerful. So it's an excuse at that point to not be where you need to be, because it's nature, man. It's just, we live here, you know what I mean? We live on this planet. Why not understand the planet? We live next to this planet. We have these stars above us. Why not want to understand that stuff? That's cool. You know, growing up in the jungle, concrete jungle at that, you know, that stuff ain't cool. It's not promoted to be cool. That's where the community affects your health, because it teaches you that this is cool, not that, you know, not what we come from is cool, but, you know, the stuff that don't even really matter or dictate whether you are important or not, or valuable or not, that's cool. You know, being in the club and can blah, 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 that's cool and that's important. You know, not, you know, understanding where you come from, not understanding where you're going to go. You know, you hear it in the music all the time. It's just death, death, death. I want to die. I'm going to kill you. This is then the third. And it's like, I don't want that. You know what I'm saying? Is that the way? Is that really the way?
No, because it's not the way, because 200 rappers had died in the last year.
Quick.
200.
Yeah. Quick.
That's crazy.
Quick.
Growing up when Pac and Big died, that was tragic, man. Nah, and I don't even know there's this many rappers out here.
I can't even name 200.
I don't even know who these people are who dying, but they dying is like, yeah, because what you putting out there vibrationally. You know, I really thought about this. I was like, if you look at you've looked at music or like a sound wave, look at a sound wave, it's drums in there, it's piano in there, it's all these instruments, but that sound wave is just one little sound wave. Your life is like that. Yeah, there's thoughts in there, there's emotions, there's actions, and on that sound wave, what does that look like? And whatever that vibration is, what would happen if you put it on repeat? You strengthen the vibration or the thing you put out. So if I make a track and there's anger and there's violence and there's depression and there's anxiety and there's all this stuff in that, and now you put that out and everybody's playing it, bro, you have no choice but to die if you put out that. There's no... Oh, I never knew Young Dolph. I don't know his music. I haven't listened to anything, but I've heard it was a lot of violence in it. Is that true? Do you know that?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
He's a gangster. He's a gangster rapper. I'm
sad for the family, but you can't go around putting that out and not to expect that to come back to you. We don't know the laws of the universe, but in Christianity, what does it say? You shall reap what you sow. Whatever you put out that consistently, it's like I'm preaching to y'all. Y'all know. This is everybody else. Yeah. You know, what you constantly do is what you will become.
Indeed. You about to make me change my playlist. I'm about to put on some meditation music when I get home.
Bro, sure. I can't even listen. I turned my car in during the pandemic, so I wasn't even driving around, because that's the most time you put music on. Now when I get in the car, I don't even put nothing on, because I just got so used to my vibration, my own silence, and me to tap in with myself. I listen to a lot of salsa and bachata music because I dance. And that music, they can be talking about my mom died or something, and it feels amazing. It's like, this feels amazing.
I blew everybody mind, and I was just in New Orleans with some business partners, and we were working, but my Turo van, it didn't have the auxiliary cord for me to actually play music. So all I had was my AirPods. So, you know, booze or whatever, they in a car. And I karaoke the entire trip. But all I did was sing. I was not listening to no rap. I'm a blah, 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 blah. It was all, Happy New Edition, Candy Girl, or, I'm listening to, R&B music. Because we gotta, it changed the whole mood of the trip. Now, if I would have just been listening to "I'm gonna kill you," "I got this money," our energy probably wouldn't have been the same. But it's like that's what I put into my ears on a daily basis. I mean, I got a daughter. I can't afford to have her in that. You know what I mean? Like that's why my daughter's so happy because we listen to happy music. I even listen to LOL Doll, you know what I mean? Because them things got her in the chokehold. She's just addicted to LOL Dolls.
I don't even know what that is.
Man,
it's the new wave.
It's the new wave,
Okay.
but you know they have soundtracks and all that, and that's what I listen to. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. And I listen to rap too at times, but I have to tailor it now because I can't do it no more. Just like you said, I can't do it no more, man. I grew up listening to it, and I remember like listening to DMX. I used to listen to him playing my video game when I was a teenager, and it would change my whole mood. I'm like, I'm about to leave this house and go do something because that's the type of time that was being pumped. It was pumping that in me, and we don't know how powerful that our music is and what we put out. Like when we put it out, the phrase that you can't throw anything because once you throw it, you can't get it back. When you put that out in the world, it's out there. It's in the ether, and it's gonna catch. It's gonna catch somebody else, and it's gonna catch somebody else, and it's gonna catch somebody else, and then it's gonna come back to you. So what you put out, just look at it as a magnet. And I used to speak to magnetism a lot. It's real. That's a thing that our thoughts and our actions are magnets.
Thoughts become things, as they say, because thoughts become emotion. Emotion becomes action.
Yep.
Actions become material things. Somebody had that act to build this table, but they had to think about it first. It's like, so I think our generation has to catch up. We talk about making the hood healthy again. It starts with individual people taking that charge and conducting themselves in a way.
I see what Charlamagne was talking about, bro.
What do you mean?
You just naturally advanced. Cause you talking from such a hot, you trying to water it down for us, but you up there, bro. It's a compliment though. It's praise.
I appreciate it, man. I try to I don't know. I just put it in forms that I think makes sense to people, makes sense to me, and that's my own genius. Being to take that stuff and break that down was like, man, that makes sense. Yeah. And make it feel like too. I ain't being adversarial to y'all. Like, yo, we look, I didn't know what I didn't know, and I had to learn what I knew. But as the Bible say, when I put childish things away, something of that nature, like, it's like you got to move away from childish things. I think it's important for us to be childlike because when you childlike, when you were younger, you didn't have all these restrictions on your mind. So listen to you said you got a daughter, right? Man, you should probably listen to the stuff she says. She's pouring in from the ethers and putting stuff out that like we've been dumbed down. And you're like, damn, you think like that?
She's too tapped. Kids are too tapped in, man. It's like it's amazing. It's amazing. And society again tells us that we're smarter than them or blah blah blah. It's like, bro, sitting and just have a conversation with a kid. I mean, that's all I'm gonna say. Like that, it's an amazing experience. It's an experience that I didn't think that I needed. It's exactly what I needed. They say kids change you, and I understand that now. Having a child who's only growing and getting bigger, will really put you in your place, put you where you need to be, keep you true to your passion and to your gifts. And people skills is a talent that my daughter has. Probably one of the best talents she have amongst many is, understanding people. And I can probably guess that was probably you growing up too. Like you make this so digestible, you know what I'm saying? Because it is high level talk, but we understand it. And I think more people as they see your podcast will understand it without having background knowledge of these things. You make this so digestible. You make it so comfortable. You know what I mean? These are comfortable conversations we having where that ain't always the case. Talk to a pastor or a priest or something. That ain't always a comfortable conversation. Go to some therapist. It's not an easy conversation. This is easy and it's accountable. People get held accountable by. I can see it. You know what I'm saying? Like you're holding people accountable, in a smooth way. And that's what I see in Asa as well. It's like he's not talking at you, he's not beating you up.
Right.
It's like, you know what you got to do. You know you ate too. You was eating hella sugar before you came and did this consultation.
Right.
So, do we even got to play the question game?
Yeah.
What's the solution? Where we gonna get there? And the tools are already in you, and y'all are unique in that regard. And I'm just blessed to have worked with you, getting to know you. Like, y'all are really Superman to me for sure. Like, it's crazy to see it, you know what I'm saying, where I didn't necessarily see that growing up a lot. So,
Yeah.
I just want to give y'all flowers while we had the time.
Well,
sure.
I appreciate
It's
you, man.
mutual, bro.
Yeah, for sure. For sure, man. Like I say, I'll be looking at your IG. I'll be like, who is this brother, man? Like, what? Like, he be on some stuff, man. Like, because I didn't know. Because when I saw you was making a grocery store, you got all types of thought processes. Like, that ain't just a grocery store you making.
No, it definitely is not. It's, again, going back to earlier comment, I'm not in competition with anybody. Food for the longest time have been for profit. I'm changing that because that's a right for everybody. We all should be rightfully entitled to have a healthy meal. We should not be required to eat McDonald's or just fake food because of whatever reason. We all are entitled to a healthy, well-balanced diet. So that's what the grocery store that I'm building is creating. But I'm not in competition with the Krogers and the Myers and the Walmarts and Whole Foods. I am literally putting a building in the world to shift the consciousness of the people in that proximity, because it only takes one bad apple to spoil the whole bunch, but it takes one good apple to create that critical mass to spread out in a positive way. And that's what I want to do on my time, on my terms, in a accord and in balance with the community. So it's a cultural center. It's a celebration of who we are as people in a certain proximity by location, being in Detroit, in a neighborhood in Detroit, by skin color or whatever that neighborhood beats with their heart. This is what these stores will be. They are a representation of the people in a positive way, much more than just food. Food is maybe the icing on the cake, but the cake itself is just the unity and the action of a collective amount of people, because it's an equity crowdfunded store. If we don't work together on this store ain't gonna happen, and I'm happy with that.
Bro, during the pandemic, like Inception, we were doing okay and stuff, but I was like, you know what? If we closed down, we closed for 5 months, and me and my mom made a decision. I said, if we open a store and people don't support it, I'm okay with it failing. Cause I was like, you just don't want it. That's cool. I wasn't gonna stop doing what I was gonna do. I was just gonna not do it here. I can go other places where people value it. Cause it's just like, if you just don't want it, don't want it. Then we open back up. Guess what? Flood of us was there. But that, you know what? That's the law of detachment. We had to detach from the outcome. We stopped caring. And when we say that, people say, well, you don't care. No, you're not understanding what I mean, that we're not caring. Y'all get it.
Yeah.
It's the law of a detachment. Like, no, we don't need it. Like you said, I'm not needed to try to, well, you got to put one here and you got to do this. No, I got to do what I'm supposed to do.
Yep.
And when we did what we were supposed to do and we detached from that, another level of taking off. And I was detached too from, meeting people and what they're supposed to do and things of that nature. Like, I don't need y'all. It's gonna happen through me. It's not the wizard that's gonna save me.
The expectation of everybody else, once you quiet the crowd, you gonna put up 100 points a game easy, because when you're chasing the clock and chasing everybody else's expectations, your concept or original vision, it gets distorted. You end up tossing stuff out of that box that you built for yourself. You start taking stuff out. Maybe it should be this, maybe it should be that, based on what everybody else is saying. And you know what it needs to be. And, again, in conversations I've had with people, we have these different business programs and, everybody chasing the money. But you're chasing the money based on their standard. So when you go in them conversations, be ready to cut a limb off. be ready to cut an arm or a leg off to get that money, because they not gonna let you do you. You got to do them, because they giving you the money and they scared.
Yeah.
So you got to do it this way, or we not gonna give it to you. If you ain't powerful, then go there. If you powerful, do you. It's gonna come. It's gonna come. The dollar amounts never scared me. The task at hand has never scared me. Just being in the right place, and I've scared myself way more than I've let the outside world do it, because I just wanted to make sure that my weapon was tempered enough to do whatever I needed to do. So knowing that, I've just been flowing. No more force, no more chasing, no more hustling, no more grinding. I'm gonna get me some sleep. I'm gonna have me some fun. I'm gonna smile. I'm gonna go do everything I need to do to make sure that this weapon can't be touched when it's time to fight. And I think that it's changing people. I really think that this is a good example. And same as Asa, like, we're leading examples of this is how things need to be done. And it's not flashy. It's not super duper extraordinary. You can do it too. It's just balance, and it's grounded.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna make being grounded and having interconnectedness and manifesting outwardly the things that we want flashy.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna be cool.
That's the flashy that you need. Like, helping people. Where's the value you adding? What's the value? What's the circles you're completing? You don't go into relationships to take. That has to even change within our personal relationships, even romantically. Everybody talking about what you giving me, what you bringing to the table. Like, I don't even go into something where I'm thinking what I'm getting. I'm thinking, where can I add that value? And that's just who I am naturally. I think we all can be like that naturally if we remove the trauma from in the programming that's blocking us.
That's really what it is trauma. We take, I use that analogy of, like, have you ever been chased by a dog? It only take one time to be chased by a dog for you to hate dogs for the rest of your life. But, like, imagine being a zebra in the jungle and a lion is chasing them once a week. And that's literally life or death. The domesticated dog may just want to bite you, but it may not kill you. The chance of you surviving that dog bite is pretty high. If that lion gets to that zebra, it's over. It's kiss it goodbye. But the animal turns it off. Once they get away from that lion, they go back to being a zebra. They go back to embracing being a zebra.
Well, there's some mechanics to that. There's two mechanics to that, and we're going to end on this. But there's two mechanics to why the zebra can be in the wild and can get chased by the lion and get away and then run 100 yards up, continue eating grass again like nothing happened. One, the zebra is connected to the earth. One. Two, the zebra shakes and discharges the energy that was used during the traumatic event to flee the lion, to escape. He discharges it where? Out of his body into the what? The ground. So that's what we have to do. We have to reconnect back to the earth and discharge this trauma energy outside of our bodies and reclaim our minds, reprogram our minds, go up another 100 yards and keep doing what you're supposed to do. And that's the inner wealth, guys. Till next time.
That was the coldest ending ever.
Mic drop. Mic drop.
You've been listening to the Inner Wealth Podcast on EYL.
Get out the matrix and live.
Theme song produced by Be Ready for West Coast Creations. I am Razcast, reminding you to take action, be proactive, be congruent, get out of the matrix, get your mind right. We've automated mental health at inception. Join the movement.
La la la.
Inner Wealth Podcast.
La la la.
Inner Wealth Podcast.
La la la.
Inner Wealth Podcast.
Get out the matrix and live.